What brings you to struggle with your faith? I see the hype guy live. Welcome. And he says, honestly, I've been kind of struggling lately with my faith. Kind of cool to stumble in here. I would like to know, and I'm glad you stumbled in here or God led you in. I'd like to know the hype guy live. What brings you to struggle with your faith? And you may not be able to be specific if it's personal, but give us what you can, and let's see if we can give you some word. That will help you be more strengthened in your faith. So we'll wait on that and see if he comes back. I think they're telling me that he's already made a comment on here somewhere. Let's see right here. He says, question 2. I have tried telling my 2 brothers that judgment will come one day, and they don't want anything to do with it. I know Jesus told his disciples to dust their feet and move on, but they are, I'm going to assume he's going to say, oh, they are my family. How do I reconcile with that? All right. Well, just because someone says that they are not receiving you doesn't mean that God is not working in them. And so I don't think there's a time frame that you can say, oh, okay, it's enough time. It's time to stop fooling with you. Because think about this for a second, the hype guy live. If every person that we try to witness to said no, and we walked away from them, then we wouldn't hardly minister to nobody. So, and you grab that scripture real quick. So when the scripture talks about if you enter a house and that house receives you, and I believe that's what you're talking about. That's the scripture. You enter a house and that house receives you, leave your peace there. But if they don't receive you, then shake the dust from your feet. It'll be better for that home than it would be for Sodom and Gomorrah. This is not really speaking of in a more intimate setting of ministry. What I'm saying is there were those who really just truly profess, I don't have nothing to do with Christ. I don't hear nothing about him. No, he ain't real, whatever the case may be. And they just emphatically rejected Christ. Now, I don't know where your brothers are with that. But if there are just those who like, yeah, man, judgment coming, man, but I ain't getting all caught up in all that judgment stuff, man. I believe in God, man, but that's a different story. But there were those that did not want to have anything to do with Christ at all, and did not acknowledge even a God in that sort. We're gonna read the scripture first and get to it, and let me before I go too much farther.
Matthew chapter 10, starting with verse 10. Well, I start with verse 9 and read down to verse 14. I'm going to read from the Amplified. Matthew 10, Amplified, starting with verse 9. Do not take gold or silver or even copper money in your money belt, or a provision bag for your journey, or even 2 tunics or sandals or a staff, for the worker deserves his support. Whatever city or village you enter, ask who in it is worthy, who welcomes you and your message, and stay at his house until you leave that city. As you go into the house, give it your greeting. That is, peace be to this house. If the family living in the house is worthy, welcoming you and your message, give it your blessing of peace. That is, a blessing of well-being and prosperity, the favor of God. But if it is not worthy, take back your blessing of peace. Whoever does not welcome you, nor listen to your message as you leave that house or city, shake the dust off your feet in contempt, breaking all ties. I assure you and most solemn say to you, it will be more tolerable on the day of judgment for the land of Sodom and Gomorrah than for that city, since it rejected the Messiah's message.
And so
Messenger.
Messenger, yes.
Yeah.
And so there are those that can reject you, but not necessarily reject the message.
They say what you